Shalawam.
Shalawam.
This is your brother Sadaqah.
This is your brother YAHAWAH.
Yeah, Shalawam. We're hailing from the Nash Gym at Nashville camp, and we're just going to have a quick little sit down right now, going into Esau, Edom. Okay, we're gonna get into the origin, a little bit of the history that can be found in the scriptures, and probably YAHAWASHI. That's probably all we're going to do, just because of time, and then YAHAWASHI. Another time, maybe in another week or two, we'll come back and we'll do this again, and we'll get to the prophecies. So with that, we'll just go ahead and get into it. If you can get Proverbs 29:2.
This is Proverbs 29 and verse 2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear through, the people mourn.
That's right. Con. And that's what you see in the world today. The world, literally, the world itself is in a state of mourning. Not even talking about the people, but this scripture is talking about the people, right? The people are in a state of mourning right now. Do we need to really expound on that? Poverty is everywhere, sickness, famine, disease, just look at the state of the world today, and you can see that in accordance with that scripture right there that I just read, that it's not the righteous who are ruling right now. It's the wicked. And that's the reason why the world is in the condition that it is right now. You got anything to put that on that?
I'm trying to find one. I think I do. It's like I should have brought it out earlier, but it just came to my mind.
No, come on. That's the spirit.
I got Isaiah 24 and verse 4. The earth mourneth and fadeth away. The world languisheth and fadeth away. The haughty people of the earth do languish. Verse 5. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore hath the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left.
That's right, con. And that just brought to mind another precept, which you can grab that over in Revelations, where it talks about destroying those who destroy the earth.
This is Revelations 11 and verse 18. And the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come in the time of the dead, that they should be judged, and that thou shouldest give reward unto the servants of the prophets, and to the saints, and them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth.
That's right, con. And that's getting into the prophecy a little bit, and we'll probably be touching on that later. Probably need to add that one to the list. That's good scripture right there. Which one was that? You got the pen real quick. Let's add that one to the list for the prophecies.
Revelation 11 verse 18.
Revelation 11 and 18. Come back and visit that one again. But so there you go. Is not the earth being destroyed today? Fracking. What did they say? They got a trash island out in the oceans, the size of Texas or something like that.
Something like that.
And then they got all this trash up in outer space. You got the chemtrail. Come on. We sound like a broken record. Chemtrails. You got these GMO seeds. You got franken animals. You can just go on and on. And we probably don't know the half of it. I'm sure we don't know the half of it.
No.
Okay. See, the people who are ruled today are the ones destroying the earth. They're the ones, they're the ones who are causing the people to be in a state of mourning. Right, come on, open the scripture. Let's grab, we got that one coming up here pretty soon. Let's grab Ecclesiastes 4:16. Ecclesiastes 4:16. Because I know what some of you people might say. Some of y'all might say, oh, well, you talking about Esau. Yeah, Esau, Edom. Okay? Scriptures also refer to it as Idumea, Mount Seir, and we're going to get into all that, and also as Timon. But I know a lot of you might say, well, that nation's been done away with. The biblical prophecies about that nation, they've been fulfilled. Oh yeah. Well, Ecclesiastes 4:16 says otherwise.
This is Ecclesiastes 4 verse 16. There is no end of all the people, even of all that they slaughter. I'm going to restart. Ecclesiastes 4 verse 16. There is no end of all the people, even of all that have been before them. They also that come after shall not rejoice in him. Surely this also is vanity and vexation of spirit.
Right. So it says, there is no end of all the people, even of all that have been before them. That's right. No, there's no end to the Edomites. The Edomites are still here. Now, the Edomites are going to be done away with one day, but that's getting into the prophecy. So we're going to talk about that, in a subsequent lesson. But they're not done away with yet. None of the people, none of the nations in the table of nations in the book of Genesis are done away with yet. See, and can you look up that scripture that says the covering cast, destroy the covering cast? Let me straighten this out a bit while you're doing that. Go ahead and move back.
This is Isaiah 25 and verse 7. And he will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all people, and the veil that is spread over all nations.
That's it. Because there's a covering cast over the nations right now. Okay? Who are the Moabites today? I don't know. Are there Moabites today? I mean, before I came into this truth, I thought that, the Hittites and the Jebusites and all these ites, and they're done away. Right. They're not around anymore. The only ones I know around are the Israelites. Why did I think that? Because Esau, Edom, the devil is a liar. That's one reason. And the truth was not yet revealed to me. But now that I come into the knowledge of this truth and I understand this truth, I see that there's a covering casting on the people. Okay, but that covering cast is now being removed. Okay, that covering cast is now being broken. See, now we know who the biblical nations are today. Okay, each of the nations, there's like a couple hundred nations, 2, 3, something like that, 100, whatever number of nations. Each one of those nations goes back to one of the 18 nations in the table of nations in the book of Genesis. Each one of those nations goes back to one of those nations. So it's not 260, 70, 80, 300 nations. It's not. No. You might consider some of those nations to be tribes, but they all go back. Just like, the nation of Israel has 12 tribes. So, you might consider some of those to be tribes, but they're not individual nations. Although they regard themselves as individual nations, they're treated like individual nations, but they're not. Each one of those nations goes back to the table of nations in the book of Genesis. So there's just 18 nations. Right? So I don't remember what got me off on that, but it must have been what was it? What's the second scripture we read? Ecclesiastes. Oh yeah, that's right. There's no end to all the people. So all the nations go back to the table of nations in the book of Genesis. There's only 18 nations. Okay, and Esau is one of them. And just like it said in Ecclesiastes 4:16, there is no end to all the people, and that includes the nation of Edom. Okay. Anything you want to add on that?
No, I'm good.
All right.
For right now. But I got a precept for later on.
All right. All right. Let's get Job 9:24 then.
This is Job 9 and verse 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he?
This is one of the ways you can know who Esau Edom is today. Besides looking at the fact that the earth is in mourning, okay, which means that the wicked rule and who's in rule, okay, and don't look at the United Nations say, well, it's a conglomeration of nations ruling. No, it's not. There's one group of people ruling. Okay, and like I said, they could be broken up into different nations. Okay, but really it's the same group of people. Really, they go back to the same nation according to the scriptures. Okay, like they call themselves different nations. They call themselves France, Germany, and USA, and all that, right? But they all go back. They're all the same people. Okay, and yeah, they're going to have some of the other nations over there. But who's really running the show? The ones who slap the sanctions on the other ones when they get out of line. Those are the ones who run the show. Okay, the nation that when the other nations who are seated at the table, when they don't do what they're told to do, you know, the nation that's really running things sends in troops, sets up a coup. you know, basically sabotages that government and sets up another government. Okay, that's the ones who's really running things. You know, when the last time you heard about the Arabs setting up a coup and tearing down a government in some other country and setting up, you know, or the Moabites or whatever, or the, you know, no, it's the Edomites doing that.
If it's not Esau, who else can it be?
That's right. We should have that script. That's right. If it's not Esau, if it's not the so-called white man, if it's not the so-called Caucasian, I say so-called because that term white has only been around for a few hundred years.
Right.
That's a man-made term. Okay, the biblical term, which is the true term, is Edomite. Okay, and you also got to point out that it's not just about the skin color. It's not, because you'll have some so-called white people, Caucasians, who actually their bloodline goes back to other nations, and maybe even perhaps the bloodline will go back to the Israelites. Right, so it's not just about skin color. And in like fashion, you'll have some so-called black people who their nationality go back to other nations or even back to the Edomites. Okay, because see, that's just genetics. Okay, and there's been a lot of race mixing. I won't say race mixing. There's been a lot of genetic mixing. Slocky, I'll put it that way. It's more accurate. There's been a lot of genetic mixing. You can't mix bloodlines, but you can mix genetics, and so that can make things confusing, right? So, but at the same time, by and large, most of the Edomites today are so-called white people, although some are going to look like so-called black people, and some are even going to look like other nations, right? But most of them, by and large, as a general rule, most of them look like so-called white people, and those are the ones who are running the show today, right? Got anything else on that before we move on?
Yeah, I'll bring out this. This is Psalm 58, verse 3. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they are born, speaking lies.
Right. You know, matter of fact, we should get that. Let's go ahead and get that other one. You know, this is all just as an opening salvo. We're just getting started. Let's get that other. I think I got that one on here somewhere, but his spirit is not upright in him. You know, spirit's not upright. His soul or spirit, you know, not upright in him. Because this is described. This is what the scripture says about you Edomites. I mean, it is what it is. It's the truth. I mean, there's no point. I mean, you know, either we want the truth or we don't.
Habakkuk.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. I think. We got that one coming up. We got that one coming up. Habakkuk 2:4. Okay, we got that one coming up. Let's get the next verse then. Psalm 49 and 11.
This is Psalms 49 and verse 11. Their inward thought is that their house Psalm 49 verse 11. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names.
There you go. And that's what you have today. That's how America got its name. That's how Africa got its name. Okay, and a lot of other lands as well. So what was it? Amerigo Vespucci or something to that effect? You go ahead.
This is from the World Atlas. It says, what was the original name of Africa? When the Romans finally captured Carthage, they called the land Africa, and Scipio changed his name to Publius Cornelius Scipio Africanus. And I got a picture of him. I'll get up and show it to the camera.
There you go. That's an Edomite for you. Naming the lands after his own name.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's Africanus, Scipio Africanus. And then I got one for America as well.
Right. And while you're doing that, let's go ahead and get this. This is from the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary, and this is going back. I should have brought this out with Ecclesiastes 4:16 for those of you who think that the Edomites aren't around anymore. Well, the scholars, yeah, you can look at it. The scholars who put together that, they when you look up EDOM or Edom in this Compact Bible Dictionary, yeah, you go ahead and show them as well where it says that EDOM is a place of figures prominently in Bible prophecy is the place of future. Future, that means coming, not yet happened, judgment. Yeah, you can
It's kind of dark.
yeah, it keeps going in and out because of the background.
And I'm gonna read this. America was named after.
Yeah, let me show this and then you can read that. Let me see here. EDOM. Where is it? Yeah, see this is under you can see there the heading Edomites, and then got some information here, and then the last part down here it says Edom. Make sure that looks like that's.
I think it comes out like the right way once you.
Yeah, right when you feel it.
Yeah.
Edom figures prominently in the prophetic scriptures as the scene of great future judgments. Great future judgments. And so hopefully, that's clear when you read it. But, so you see there the word future. The scholars who put this Compact Bible Dictionary together, the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary, they know. And they put it in. They researched this. Esau does a diligent search. He completes a diligent search. And sometimes he's lying, but a lot of times he lies. But a lot of times he tells the truth too. When he doesn't have a reason to lie, he's telling the truth because he completes a diligent search. That's one of the characteristics of Edom. And when they don't see any reason to lie about something, they put the truth in there, especially when they not expecting it to come back and burn them or bite them, and that's the truth, Okay, so no, Edom is not done away with. That's going to happen in the future according to Bible prophecy, and we'll get into that, in another lesson.
I have.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna read it. American. Then I have for that they do a diligent search.
Yeah, Con.
It says America is named after Amerigo Vespucci, the Italian explorer who set forth the then revolutionary concept of the land that Christopher Columbus sailed to in 1492.
Right.
And then they call us after African American. They call us after two white people.
Right. Con. Right. Right. Hey, isn't that what you do when you name something? That's like you taking authority over what you named.
Con. That seemed like that.
Right. Yeah. So and so we bringing this out to point out what was that scripture? You go back and touch on that scripture again that we just what was it? Psalm 49:11. Because this is the reason why we're bringing this out. Because again, this is all open in the intro to give some of the characteristics according to Scripture of the nation of Edom, and you can see these things these characteristics fit a certain group of people today.
This is Psalm 49 verse 11. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names.
They call their lands after their own names, and that's what we were just showing you right there. And then we got the other one. What you got? About diligent search.
This is Psalm 64 and verse 6. They search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search. Both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep.
There you go. And so Esau did a diligent search, and he knows that Edom is now the Edomites that did this diligent search, they may not have known that they was the Edomites. They may or may not, because the Scripture also says that both the deceived and the deceiver are his, belong to the Lord, right? So, but they did a diligent search, and they know that the Edomites are not done away with. As a matter of fact, the Amalekites, which are Edomites, which are over in the nation of Israel today, they know that the Edomites aren't done away with. But they're deceived, so they think they're not Edomites. You know who they think are the Edomites? The Western countries. The rabbis over there, they'll tell you that the Western countries are the Edomites, which would mean this place. And you know what? They're right, but they're missing part of it. They're also Edomites too.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
I can actually read a verse before.
Go ahead.
This is Psalm 64, verse 5. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privately. They say, who shall see them?
That's right. That's right. Who shall say? Well, the Lord sees you. The Most High. YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI, they see you. His eyes are 10,000 times brighter than the sun. That's who sees you. And you ain't getting away with nothing.
Right.
All right? And you ain't doing anything that you aren't doing anything that isn't written or already foreordained for you to do. You can't overstep your bounds. Right? And that's the scripture as well. Okay? You know, you can't overstep your bounds in what you do, and you can't overstep your bounds in how much time you're in rulership.
Habakkuk
2, 4, and 5. Yeah, let's get that.
This is Habakkuk 2 and verse 4. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Verse 5. Yea, also, because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people.
I mean, who else could this be talking about? Let's pick this apart just a little bit, man. Or break this down a little bit. Let's hit that fourth verse again.
This is Habakkuk 2 and verse 4. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him.
Let's stop right there. Yeah, that's right. Your soul is not upright in you. You're created to be the wicked. That's not what I say. That's what the scriptures say. You know, that's what the scriptures say. You know, the scripture says, one vessel to honor and one vessel to dishonor. You know? Let's get that one real quick. You know, he maketh all things, yea, even the, or whatever you're going to get. What you about to grab?
I'm going to grab, he said some close to him, like he has cursed some and he has blessed some.
Yeah, go ahead and get that.
Find it at the moment. What do you want
me to and I think we already had this on the list. I just don't know where it was at. We'll just get it now. He makes all things, yea, even the wicked, for the day of judgment. Or something to that effect.
Proverbs 16 and verse 4.
Surprised we ain't had that one on the list. We did. We had it in the prophecy. No, I'll put that one there. Go ahead. Yeah, because and we're just going to read the scripture right here that says exactly what I just pointed out, which is that you're made to be wicked. You're just like we just read in Habakkuk 2 and 4. Your soul is not upright in you. You're a vessel created to dishonor. I mean, it wasn't my decision.
Right.
I mean, in fact, it was a shock to me to learn these things. Right. You know, and I this is one of the things I had to wrestle with a little bit. You know, I ain't gonna say it bit me all kinds of out of shape, but I had to wrestle with this a little bit. It was like, man, I had to come to terms with this. You know, when my eyes were open to the truth. But at the end of the day, let the words of Yahawah Shem YAHAWASHI be true, and every man be a lie. It is what it is. This is the truth. You know. Barakatah Yahawah Shem YAHAWASHI. I'm not an Edomite. I mean, that's what I got to say about that. You know? Go ahead, Al.
It's like that goes back to Romans 9 about which we get about the election. It's like the election of the Most High.
Right.
But this is Proverbs 16 and verse 4. The Lord hath made all things for himself, yea, even the wicked for the day of evil.
That's right. The wicked, that's you. And we're going to get the scripture that says it. You are called. The Edomites are called the border of wickedness, and there is no other group of people in the scriptures that's said about. See, when I was in Christianity, I read about the wicked. I just thought, well, that was just somebody who does wicked things. No, you can do wicked things, but that doesn't make you the wicked. Just like you can do righteous things, and that doesn't make you righteous. Okay? There's a group of people who are righteous, and there's a group of people who are wicked. There's three groups of men according to Scripture. There's the sons of the wicked, the sons of the Most High, and there's the sons of men. Okay? The sons of the Most High are the Israelites. Yasharallah means prince of the power. The sons of the wicked, well, that's the Edomites. Okay? Comes from the loins of Esau. And then you got the sons of men, which is the other nations. You got a good guy, you got a bad guy, and you got the extras. Protagonists, antagonists, and the extras. Maybe it's a couple of supporting actors. I say Moabites, the Ammonites. Some of those are supporting actors. They're kind of like henchmen, for Esau, or supporting actors. But then a lot of them are just extras. It is what it is. This is all the will of YAHAWASHI and YAHAWASHI. Okay? It is what it is, So, that's just who you are. So, because you're the wicked, your soul is not upright in you. What you got? Go ahead when you get it. Okay? And that's the reason why you can't help but do wickedly. You can't help but do evil. Okay? Even when you're trying, you call yourself doing good. You don't realize how deceived you are. Even when you call yourself being holy, you call yourself being righteous. Your actions are actually abominable. The scriptures say that even the prayers of the wicked, or something, if I can paraphrase, even the prayers of the wicked are abominations to the Most High. And you don't even know.
This is Ecclesiasticus, or Sirach, chapter 33, like in verse 8. By the knowledge of the Lord they were distinguished. And he altered seasons and feasts. Some of them hath he made high days and hallowed them, and some of them hath he made ordinary days. And verse 10, and all men are from the ground, and Adam was created of earth. And much knowledge the Lord hath divided them, and made their ways diverse. Some of them hath he blessed and exalted, and some of them hath he sanctified and set near himself. But some of them hath he cursed and brought low and turned out of their places. As the clay is in the potter's hand to fasten it as his pleasure, so man is in the hand of him that made him, to render to them as he liketh best.
There you go. See, this is all subject to the will of YAHAWASHI and YAHAWASHI. There is no free will. There is no free will. And we're not getting that right now, but I always just like to take a couple of pot shots at that, because this is one of those lies in Christianity, so-called Christianity, which is not true Christianity. That I believe, and I hate that I was involved in that. I hate it. Okay, but Jonah didn't have free will, did he? What about the disciples? Did they have free will? I think the illustration I had the other day, and I like this, I'm gonna use it again. YAHAWASHI, the one you call Jesus, he was coming around getting his ministry started. He saw James and Peter and Paul. He was like, not Paul, James, Peter, and John, and he was like, okay, let me pass him a little note. Okay, check yes if you're going to follow me. Check no if you're not. Oh, no, he didn't do that. What did he say? He said, follow me. And that's what they did. What about the Apostle Paul? Did he have free will? Huh? Did he? I mean, what about Pharaoh? Okay, because this is modern day Egypt today. Okay, this is modern day. What about Pharaoh? Did he have free will? Just go back and read that account. If Pharaoh had free will, he would have let them Israelites go long ago. Matter of fact, the point blank, the scriptures tell you, Yahweh himself says that, he's going to harden his heart. Multiple times, if I'm not mistaken. And then in addition to that, he told you why he's going to harden his heart. He raised up that Pharaoh and hardened his heart so that he could show his power. And this is modern day Egypt. You don't think he's doing the same thing again today? That's exactly what he's doing.
Right.
What you got?
I was just going to bring out that Proverbs 21. If I can get it. Proverbs 21, verse 1. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, as the rivers of water. He turneth it whithersoever he will.
That's right. That's right. So there is no free will. You're created to be the wicked, and you're going to do wickedly. And you don't have a say. Hey, we're created to be righteous, and we don't have a say. I mean, yeah, we can do wicked things. We're in the flesh. And when it talks about the flesh, it is talking about these bodies, these chains of darkness, and they cause us to go off. But yet, at the end of the day, we have no choice but though the righteous fall 7 times, he gets back up, or something to that effect is what the scripture says in Proverbs. We have no choice but to get back up and to get back to doing the will of YAHAWASHI in righteousness. And neither do you. You're going to do the will of YAHAWASHI in wickedness. It just is what it is. We're all but actors on the stage. I think that's a quote,
You want a water?
Yeah, come, water. So
I got that
yeah, go ahead.
for what you
Go
just
ahead.
said. Proverbs 24. This is Proverbs 24 and verse 16. For a just man falleth 7 times and riseth up again, but the wicked shall fall into mischief.
There you go. See, so yeah, we go off, we do things wrong, we do things that we ought not to do, but at the end of the day, we're going to rise up. And the scriptures say that the Most High is going to abundantly pardon the sins of the elect. Okay, who can lay anything to the charge of the Most High's elect? Who? Right? Okay, but you on the other hand, you're the wicked. It is what it is. So let's go ahead and get another scripture here. What was the next one? 6, which is 2 Thessalonians 2 and 4. How are we doing? Let me check this here. 30. Hey, it's the Holy Spirit, man. Hey, it's the labor of love, and the Most High is going to regard it. He regards it.
I think I seen a video the other day that said you gotta want to do it. This is 2 Thessalonians 2 and verse 4. Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Who considers themselves to be the authority on anything of a scriptural or biblical nature? The so-called white man. Okay, and again, it's so-called white man, and it's not all about skin color. It's not, because you got some Israelites who look like white men, and you got some Edomites that look like so-called Caucasians or white people. Okay, and everything in between, right? So it's not just about how you look genetically; it's about the bloodline, right? But read that scripture again, huh?
This is 2 Thessalonians 2 and verse 4. Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself